You're listening to the Live Free podcast. I'm your host, Christine, certified life coach, pain to power mentor, and creator of Embody You Mindset Mastery School. I'm here today to discuss living life after disease, disaster, or adversity, to discuss living life fully once again, a life of hope, peace, and resiliency, a life fully embodied. I utilize the lessons that I learned going through not one, but two primary cancers. I'm here today to guide you to the life of your dreams, turn your pain into power, and lead you back to yourself. Welcome. So today I want to talk about compassion. So it was a little while into my cancer journey when I realized that compassion is mine, but maybe yours, secret to life. The secret sauce. The thing that set me free. So this is a big episode. Prior to cancer, I was very much the person to put my fingers into every single honeypot. I was learning Spanish. I was learning guitar. I was learning how to improve myself. I was learning how to be a good wife. I was learning how to have a perfect household, keep up with the styles, create a jewelry business, create an aesthetics business, everything. You name it, I perfected it. That's all I did. Action, action, action. And it was always fueled by a feeling of not enough. Always. So everything that I did in a desperate effort to try to be enough. I had no compassion for myself. And I utilized pain. I utilized judgment. And I utilized discomfort to try to propel myself forward. At the time, I didn't know I did it, but I would spend a weekend with my family, eating, not super raw, super organic, maybe having a few drinks, maybe staying up a little later than I should. And Sunday night, I would beat myself up for hours. And I would vow that next weekend, I'm not doing that. Next weekend, I'm eating raw, and I'm drinking water, and I'm getting proper sleeps, and I'm going to learn more Spanish, or whatever. And then the next weekend would come, and I'd be so tired from trying to be perfect all week that I would stay up late, eat not so good, have a couple drinks, then I would beat myself up on Sunday. And the cycle continued. And I didn't realize it then, but as I said, I had no compassion for myself. I just thought to myself over and over again, you gotta do better, you gotta be better, you gotta prove over and over and over again. So I was a get shit doner. And I still am. But I was a relentless get shit doner. And then cancer hit. And the first thing that happened was that I was unable, uninterested, too stressed, too tired, too sore, too nauseous. All of those things to do anything. And you know what my mind did with that? It had a heyday telling me that, see, you're just not enough. You're not enough. So I tried to push, and I just burnt myself out. I tried to eat super crazy, healthy, organic, no sugar, the whole thing. Just like they did in the books. I jumped in, dove in to remission books on how to cure your life of cancer. I used it all. And I got real tired real fast. And I wanted so badly to become this grand person, this person who proved to the whole world that she could cure her own cancer through healthy eating and exercise. And I failed. And that sucked, and it hurt, and it was uncomfortable, especially for me. And it was at the bottom of a pool, metaphorically speaking, right at the bottom, sitting in the bottom of the pool, that I realized that the only way that I was going to be able to get through all of this cancer stuff was with compassion. And the subject was so foreign to me. So foreign. The idea of sitting and it being okay. You know, when I was in college, I used to go out drinking with my friends. And the next day, when you'd be hungover, I remember loving those days, even though I felt terrible, because it gave me permission to just sit. I used to love getting sick, even though it was terrible, because it gave me permission to just sit. So here I am in the middle of chemotherapy with permission to just sit. And it was great for like 2 days. And then when I decided that it was time for me to no longer just sit and get up and get going and get busy like I normally do, couldn't. And that was hard. That was really hard for me. So this word compassion came into my existence. What does it mean? What does it look like? And compassion is to be okay with what is. It's a sense of presence. Compassion is putting no judgment, right or wrong, good or bad. Compassion is just letting it be, truly letting it be. And of course, there are things that do and do not serve us. That's the truth. But that's pretty much the only label that you can put on good and bad days, emotions, actions. Does it serve you or does it not? Compassion is seeing that it does or does not serve you, and giving it a hug and saying, you're okay there. You're okay now. This is not something I was comfortable with. But little by little, I just ate the damn nachos. Or I just watched the damn movie. Or I let somebody help me cook or clean. The hardest part was letting my husband do things. Prior to this, I was the doer of all things, especially in my home and relationship. And suddenly I couldn't lift things, I couldn't do things. And my husband needed to lift things and do things, and that was not comfortable. But learning compassion, I let him. And you know what happened? The world didn't fall. I didn't get ridiculously fat. It didn't matter that I wasn't learning Spanish anymore or cultivating some type of skill that was going to be world-renowned post-cancer. What ended up happening was this sense of ease came into my life that I had never felt ever before. I had never been with such peace as it was when I started to look at myself with compassion. And it was a lady who kind of sparked that for me, who I called. She was a breast cancer survivor as well. And I said, I should be eating no sugar, and I should be, eating broccoli and cruciferous vegetables and all these things because the books say that I should. And she said, Christine, you're going through chemotherapy for late stage cancer. She said, eat the damn curly fries. And that was huge for me because, I'm not saying this to breed laziness. I'm saying it to instead help you to have a sense of ease. Because what happened when I had this sense of ease is I started wanting vegetables as opposed to needing to do this, to have to do it. Oh, I have to. I started wanting to have vegetables. And then I would want nachos. And then vegetables. And then dinosaurs. And all of it was appropriate. And as my mind healed, my body healed. And I had this grand plan at the end of chemotherapy to be completely radically remissed because of all of my hard efforts. And you know what happened? At the end of chemotherapy, there was still some cancer present that we had to remove. And at first I felt like a failure, like I didn't do it. And then enter compassion, yet again. Compassion for my body, compassion for the healing. I had a lemon-sized tumor go down to the size of a pea. I think that there's a success in that. But it was not normal for me to be grateful. So what does that look like for you? What would it be like if you didn't, at every moment of every day, try to coax yourself into being better by putting yourself down? What kind of motivation is that, really? Look at the basic principles of training an animal. Reward-based works way better than fear-based. So what makes us as humans think that we can convince ourselves to be better by putting ourselves down? What would you say if a friend came in and said, I've done this bad thing and I'm so sorry. I've done really bad. What would you say? You would comfort them. you would hold them. But yet we think that it's okay and appropriate for ourselves to say, hey, I've done this bad thing. And then we say, yeah, you have. You need to do better. You need to take the situation, remember it, revamp it, rework it in your mind every single day so that you'll be better. How's that working for you? Because it didn't work for me. It wasn't until I learned to hold Christine, to hold Christine with cancer, and to hold the cancer with love and attention, that I started to heal. So this is the work. What would it look like in your day for you to have compassion for yourself? You know, you're late for work that morning. Beat yourself up all day? Or say to yourself, well, I was doing important things and I made a mistake. That's okay. I'll do better tomorrow. Or the opposite, which is, you know, you could flip it and you could say, you know what? I'm late because I had shit to do. Done deal. You pick what's right for you. But beating yourself up all day because you were 10 minutes late for work is just going to make it so you do it again tomorrow. So I'm hoping for you that this idea of compassion is starting to sink in a little bit, because it was revolutionary for me. And in every area of life, I'm finding that this theme of compassion pops up. So in regards to my husband, in my relationships, there was a time where I was hard on him. And I'm still hard on him sometimes, but it's very rare now. But I used to be so hard on him. I would rework it, and I would plant seeds, and I would try to show him just how bad his habits are. Over and over and over again. And his habits kept perpetuating. Because his defenses were up. Just like yours are when you're not being compassionate to yourself. And it wasn't until I started loving him wholeheartedly and openly and completely, unconditionally, with compassion, that all of that started to fall away. His habits now are completely different. Our relationship is completely different. I thought that the best way to motivate myself, my husband, my relationship, my family, others, was by consistent reminders that they're not enough. Now, I didn't think that intellectually. I subconsciously thought it. Because many of us are conditioned to do so. To rework it. We're the only species that beats ourselves up about whether or not we were late for work for 10 minutes 3 weeks later. All the rest of the animals just go, oh, okay. Lesson, moving on. And then they grow. So our relationship changed hugely. And we are now so close. We are so much better than we've ever been. And all it took was looking at him with compassion. You can transmute this to anything. You can move it over to anything. It's unbelievable how well compassion works. And to summarize, it is also very important that compassion isn't an excuse for laziness. You know, compassion doesn't mean, oh, well, you know, I've had a hard day at work,
So I'm going to eat junk food, sit on a couch and binge watch TV, followed by the next day doing the exact same thing, and the next and the next. It's about taking one day. It's about taking 1 hour, 1 week if you have to, and really resting, intentionally resting, having compassion enough for yourself to rest, and then knowing when compassion has switched over to pleasure seeking. And when it has, gently say to yourself, it's okay. I see where I am now. Learn your lesson and move on. Meditation is the same thing. They teach you to try not to think. Don't think your thoughts, just instead be present. But we all get so uncomfortable with meditation because we think a thought and we go, damn it, Christine. And then we think a thought, God, shit, Christine, over and over and over again. And then meditation becomes this bullying, this subconscious bullying. And then it's no longer comfortable, so you stop. Are you starting to see that this is the theme in everything? That if you quit, it's probably because you were being hard on yourself. It's probably because you had no compassion. So this is the work. Compassion is huge. I've considered getting it tattooed on my body, to be honest, as a reminder to always be compassionate. So I hope that this talk today has inspired you to have more compassion for yourself. Because what does it do? To summarize, compassion creates a space where you feel safe. When you feel safe, you can move on intuitively to bigger and better things. Being hard on yourself creates a feeling of no safety, of not being enough. When you feel not enough, you quit. So, have compassion, love yourself, and let life unfold for you. You'll be amazed the difference. I'm still in disbelief at how much my life has changed in such a short period of time because of compassion. And I'm still working on it. So I hope this helped. I hope it created some expansion for you today. And I hope you go out there and live life more free. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you found expansion with this last episode, then that means that others will too. And the best way to get the word out about the podcast is by leaving a review. I would be so grateful if you could leave me a review and let me know how you felt about the podcast. Included in the show notes will be everything that we talked about today, including all of my transformative programs. Change is just on the horizon, my